Haven't turned on. There it is. Okay.
7:06, and I believe that I'm recording now. Okay, and so is it easier for you if I don't share the screen of the agenda? Does everyone have the agenda?
I have it
Yeah,
on my screen
do.
also, so it's fine without you sharing.
Okay, I'm gonna toggle back and forth.
If anybody
just-
needs it, I could quickly email it to you.
No, I can put it up on the screen, but it's kind of nicer to be able to see
Yeah,
our faces.
Yeah, okay.
So, okay, so the
So
first
are
item,
Liddy and Donna there too or not?
I'm here.
Yes, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Oh,
Joseph, if you click on
oh,
participants,
okay. Oh, I see,
if
Liddy.
you click on participants, you can see who is in the room.
Okay, I don't see a picture of Donna.
No, I'm not showing
Doesn't
my
have a
picture.
camera.
Okay, but Donna is there too? Okay.
Yep.
we can hear her.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here.
Okay.
There's 7 people in the room.
1, 2,
And the
3.
boogeyman.
All
Okay.
right, got it? Ready to move?
Yep.
Okay. Second item on the agenda following the call to order is to accept, amend if necessary, and then accept the agenda. Does anyone have any
So do we accept the
additions?
agenda?
Was that, sorry, was that you, Wendy?
Nope.
Liddy? Who moved?
It was Liddy. It was Liddy.
Okay. Can I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No, hearing none. The motion carries and we will move forward with this agenda. Thanks, Carol. The third item is to review and amend if necessary and then approve the minutes of our meeting back in February, which seems lifetimes ago. Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes?
Mhm.
Yes.
Motion to accept the minutes as written.
Seconded.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion carries and the February minutes are approved. The next item on the agenda is the treasurer's report, and Liddy was kind enough to send a report earlier on today. Does everyone have that report?
That report didn't go to Melissa.
Connie,
Okay. Yeah.
Connie, there's a person in the waiting room that's texting me.
Ah, hold on. Okay. I will admit, Lynn Mellis Worthington.
Okay.
What report didn't I get, Carol?
Liddy's treasury report.
Can you forward that to me, please?
Hi, Lynn.
Let's see if I can do that.
You
Okay,
know
I
what?
can,
I can throw it up on the screen if we want to just take a look at it for the moment. Okay. All right.
I don't know what's going on with your audio, Connie.
I'm sorry.
Your audio is going in and out and
Oh, sorry.
reverberating.
Not really sure what to do about that.
Okay.
I don't know either.
If it becomes really annoying, we'll pass the floor to Carol to chair. Okay, so this is Liddy's report sent earlier tonight or earlier today. Liddy, you're on.
There are no changes. Nothing has happened. There's no activity this month, and who knows what will happen going forward. I did check with town treasurer about our budget to see if it too might be extended, and she said at this point, no. The budget year is, the fiscal year is still the way it's always been. So I suspect what will happen is we will not have spent our budget and we can just return it to the town.
I'm sure that will be appreciated.
So
And that's about all I have to say.
the Board of Finance meeting was Monday, and then yesterday was the Selectmen's meeting, and basically that's kind of the norm for all of the commissions at this point, that there will be a large surplus going back to the town. But that will also benefit us all because it'll keep our mill rate down, and they're using that to plan for the next fiscal year budget. So they're kind of counting on the fact that that will help us in the long run.
And it won't affect the budget for next year, right?
No,
I mean, that's, has that been approved yet or not?
it has not been approved yet.
Okay.
Liddy, do you have any idea where we are on that? This year's
On the
budget?
budget process, no, I do not.
So the budget process is they're trying to figure out when and how to do a hearing, although I think they set a date last night, if I remember correctly. But it'll probably be a question and answer type of they'll show us the budget ahead of time. We'll have a good couple of days to ask questions about it, and then it will go to a hearing similar in a Zoom fashion where it will go around to a round robin of sorts to answer the questions that were brought in by the public. And that, they're just trying to figure out the process going forward since you can't hold a hearing the way we would normally do. And so that was all said in the last 2 days' meetings.
I just think it's really the right thing to do in terms of our supporting our community.
Mhm.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
the school will give back a large sum of money because the school's not in session.
Yeah.
It's
Of
the right
course,
thing to do, and it'll help us all in the long run.
Yeah.
that's right.
Do we need to vote on that, or did it just, it'll happen?
Yeah, no, there's nothing to vote on.
Nothing to vote on.
Okay, anything more on this, Liddy? And then I'll stop sharing and we can go back to the gallery view.
No, that's all I've got.
Okay.
So did Lynn's picture come in? I don't
She's
see
not
Lynn.
using her video right now.
Oh, okay.
She's here, she's muted. Hi.
She's muted though. Can you unmute her?
She doesn't want to be unmuted.
She does not. I can do that. But
But
she
you can hear us.
She
You can hear us. Okay, fine.
Hi to everyone. Yeah.
All right, so moving on in the agenda, the next item would be public comment. And unless, Lynn, you have a comment, then I think that we can move on from that agenda item. All right. The next item on the agenda is getting through our old business. So let's talk about our April events. Sadly, we couldn't do them this year. I think it's interesting that the Washington Environmental Council went ahead with its cleanup, as did the town of Warren.
Bridgewater? It was Bridgewater.
Yeah, Bridgewater Land Trust went through with theirs.
So that's
Bridgewater is Jennifer.
3, because Warren did too, and the
Yeah.
Washington Environmental Council all sponsored cleanups, which I guess, leaves it to us to discuss whether or not we feel at all that we want to do something as time goes on. It's an option. Certainly other towns canceled their cleanups as well. So,
Well, I think the fact that we have such a high proportion of our helpers, students, and they're not here, it would be better to wait till fall, or, I mean, people can go ahead and pick up their street for sure, but I think the kids play a big role for us.
Yeah. And Liddy has sent out a notice already, right? That we canceled.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did send out an email to all of the people that have cleaned up for us in the past. And
Yeah.
we also were getting our supplies from the hardware store in town. They were great, and I contacted Melissa and said, thank you, but not this year.
Yeah.
So I think we thanked everybody, and hopefully everybody is up for it if it does happen. I think it's better to wait until next year in April.
I agree.
I think so too.
I think the public areas like IGA parking lot, the places the Boy Scouts do, if I can pull it off to do something with the Scouts in the fall, the paved places I think would be good to do.
Okay.
But it can just be a Scout meeting. It doesn't need to be anything
Right.
publicized, and I can just, figure out the expenses at that point.
Okay. In my email to everybody, I did suggest that on their own time and in their own way that they clean up their roads, and hopefully people will do that.
people have the time for it, and lots of people are out walking, so good.
Yeah, I just think
Yeah.
that
So
public
hopefully
parking
that'll
lots are getting
happen.
gross right now.
So
People
what
are
about?
disrespectful.
Um, So our library event also, we determined it wasn't really going to be quite the same to try and do it virtually. And we think that it would be nice to try and reschedule it for the fall. If that is feasible, we will see. But we'll reschedule it to a time that we can meet in person and have the event at the library. As far as I know, there's no plans for an Arbor Day celebration
No.
connected with KCS, even though they'll be back in school.
TV. When are they going to be back in school? They're not going to
When
be.
are-
Well, not back in school, online learning. That's
Oh. I was like, May 20th is not Arbor Day. What are you talking about?
I'm living for next Monday. Poor
Got it.
Fuller is so
Yeah.
bored.
Got it. And you're keeping him quiet between the other two who are actually in school. Got it.
So anyway, it doesn't seem like there's any opportunity.
Sounds like
to
somebody is
organize
playing an
anything.
instrument. What is this?
What?
I don't know who's talking.
I don't know. Carol froze though.
No, I'm here.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
okay now, but for a while there, it sounded like somebody playing a small horn.
We didn't hear it
didn't
on our
hear that.
side.
I think
Someone
our
must-
connection is not fabulous.
Somebody must be serenading you.
Mine is kind of scratchy, and periodically people freeze a little bit. So I don't know. This is the connection that we have. So
Okay,
we'll just
so
work.
moving on.
So I guess the question would be, is there anything that we
But
can?
you have Donna muted. You should
No.
unmute.
I think she might have
Donna
muted
Donna
herself.
has Donna muted.
Okay, sorry.
Mhm.
It's okay for any of you experiencing background noise to mute yourselves. And we will, when there's a question that is asked of a specific person, we'll make sure that we allow them time to come back on. But I'm not muting anybody.
Okay.
I'm not controlling this.
There's enough to think about without micromanaging the people.
Yeah. Okay. So just getting to the question, next week is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. Whether or not we should do anything, from, something as simple as a happy Earth Day going on our Facebook page, to suggesting that people participate in some of the virtual activities that have been promoted. I've seen a few of those. They're not extremely compelling, unfortunately. They're, things like eat less meat and shop locally, and, they're not really things, I don't know.
I would assume most of us are shopping locally anyway, because that's pretty much our only option. And we're conservation, we're, eating meat, that's a personal choice, whether you're eating it or not. I think that I was going to do some social media things between Land Trust and the conservation, and that we can bring awareness, like you said, but
Yeah, I think it would be nice to offer a little menu of links for the day. I get so many things that are spellbinding. Maybe all of us who have something that we like can forward it to one of you and you could set it up.
yeah, you can forward it to me. And if you think you like something,
Okay.
I will coordinate it so that it all pops up throughout the day and is kind of a celebratory rollout of our Earth Days.
So where would it be posted? Where would it be available?
But Facebook is all we have, so
Okay.
So how about, I know that I really love, I don't love Zoom meetings, but I really love when we do a Zoom meeting, being able to see everyone, and, seeing friendly faces from our community it's so valuable during this lonely time. So I wonder if what we could do is, like a series of that day, just kind of like a series of commissioner picks for celebrating Earth Day. And maybe, if each of us sends Melissa a selfie and our our picks, and those could be anything from 1 to 5 links or suggestions. That would be a really nice personal way to just reach out to the town and say, we miss you, we're here for you. We hope that you're enjoying something earthy on Earth Day.
Can be a video too, a short video or something if you're out
Not working
walking.
very well.
Mhm.
What did
That-
Connie just say? I didn't get any of it.
Someone want to paraphrase me?
You've recorded
Connie-
it so you can replay it.
Oh, no, I don't want to make Lydia have to do that.
Okay.
Lee, are you hearing us? Can you hear us?
I can hear you now, but for a while there, every picture just stopped and Connie sounded like that tooting horn again.
Oh, maybe your connection is slow or something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, maybe she should reboot.
I've got no, my Wi-Fi is very, very good.
There's something weird with our connection tonight.
Yeah.
Very strange.
Okay, so Liddy, everybody, we're all gonna do a selfie, each of us, send it to Melissa with a pic, what we would do for Earth Day. And that could be any of the really compelling links that Wendy is finding. It could just be if you don't have time or, aren't inspired by any of the links that you're seeing, you could, make something up about something personal about how you're going to celebrate or commemorate the day. Really your choice. But that way it's whatever, 6 of us, 6 different postings that Melissa will post throughout the day.
Okay.
And remind me the date for that.
I think it's Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Wednesday's the 22nd. So best to have it to Melissa by Monday. Does that sound okay?
Sure. Okay.
Wendy, if you can send us as many as you can, that would be great.
Okay. Well,
And
my
then
favorite
Melissa
really is
will make
elephant
sure there's
playing
no,
basketball, but
dupes.
I don't. If you haven't seen that one, I'll send you that. But that's not really for Earth Day. But elephants playing basketball is terrific.
It was. We thoroughly enjoyed that.
Okay. If I get a bunch of things together, but I guess they should be relatively short, not.
Well, they can be links to different websites also that have further things. Everyone's can be a little different.
Okay.
How many people look at the Facebook page?
Oh, a bunch.
Well, if
Yeah.
Lynn
Our
tells
community-
everybody,
All your pictures just froze. Is anybody
Well-
answering that question?
Yeah, the question about the Facebook.
Yeah, like how many people would
anybody
actually
talking?
look at this?
We
We have
have a pretty good spread in
280.
the community.
We have 280 follower likes and 298, which followers. Connie and I don't understand the difference between a like and a follower. We've
Mm-hmm.
debated that one. So we're at like 300, which I think is pretty good for a Facebook page that we don't really populate too frequently.
And if
I really like the idea of forwarding the links. I don't think that I'm going to do a selfie, and I don't want it to be coming from me. I want it to be coming from the Kent Conservation Commission. So I just like it to be sort of a generic, these are our links, because it's not really what I think I'm comfortable doing.
Okay.
I totally agree with you, Carol.
Okay.
I think
We can
that's
do it that way
fine.
too. Yeah, we can do it that way too.
I think that's fine. I think either way that you're comfortable with. I do think that, that people in the community appreciate knowing that you're out here and that, we're connected and connecting. So whatever you feel.
I'm more focused on that the links are something that would really be helpful and useful for them for that day.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's good. I think that's good. Okay. All right. So next on the agenda is the Western Connecticut Clean Air Action report.
okay, there's not a lot of news except that the plant has not opened. We don't know why. There is a lawsuit going on, but it's hard to imagine that would stop them. But there's some little problems, I guess, over there. But anyway, we still have, we're very optimistic about our consultant and the part she's going to play. I don't know if any of you saw last week, one of the people on our board, and each town sends people, calls himself, his website is Blueberry, I think, and he had a piece in the Spectrum about eating blueberries was going to help you with coronavirus. And that alarmed us a bit, but
Yeah.
I looked the next week to see if anybody wrote back to this letter, and they didn't, which seems healthy. But
So
that's
Wendy,
all.
Yeah.
I'm interested in whether or not, I mean, that there are claims out there that, you know, the environment is cleaner now, certainly in cities that experience a lot of smog than it
Yes.
was before we all stopped driving around and moving around so much. And so I wonder if it would be interesting to take another baseline reading and see if there's a notable difference, you know, analyze what's going on now.
Yeah. We could do that. We could do that. I do notice also that at least 2 auto insurance companies are giving members rebates because there are fewer car accidents. My insurance company is, and I forget who the other one is.
Yeah, Daryl's dad said the same thing this weekend. He didn't know how the rebate was coming because he pays annually. And so he didn't know if he had to wait to get the rebate or if they were going to cut a check. But, oh, you like that noise?
The equivalent of 2 months of premiums, I guess. It's pretty nice, but it's a demonstration that fewer cars on the road is a good thing. But I will check and see if we can produce numbers. That's an interesting point.
Yeah, it might be interesting just to see
Yeah.
what there is.
The other thing that came up is that Western Connecticut Cleaner Action is developing a webpage. And in order to pay for the hosting of the webpage and the development of the webpage, we just need a little funds. And so at some point in the future, then when we get a little further along, the suggestion was that each town could kick in a little bit. And so other towns, the conservation commissions have a direct budget for Western Connecticut Clean Air Action. And so for them, it's a no-brainer. For us, Wendy and I would have to be asking the Conservation Commission for, I mean, we're saying like a ballpark of about $100 or so just to support this. But right now, we don't have to do anything about it per se, because we have to figure out how
Well, we
to
have
do it.
some in our budget, so.
Yeah, be sure we do it before the end of June.
Yeah.
So is that
We
something
could vote
that,
on it right now. right?
then I think that we should do that then.
Yeah.
Because Wendy, you're thinking that we would actually have to get that money to the developer and everything right now? Is it going, it's going ahead that fast?
Well,
Maybe
nothing's,
why don't we
but-
do that? Let me
Yeah.
make a proposal then that the Kent Conservation Commission support Western Connecticut Clean Air Action's webpage development at an amount no greater than, how do you want to say it, Wendy?
Yep.
that's fine. The reason for this is we need a web developer, and I guess there's some amount that's involved in simply getting an address. So,
And the hosting, yeah.
so that's what it's all about. We haven't actually settled on who's going to design it, but we're just guessing that's a fair amount.
Well,
from 6
So
down.
we're in discussion and we're moving ahead. I mean, there's no
Yeah.
question. The thing that's decided is we're definitely doing a webpage and we definitely want to get it up soon. And we're just working towards that. But obviously to pay for it, Wendy and I are supposed to come back and ask you then if we could then have some funds for that.
So
How many
are you
towns
going to
is
ask for that now? Are you asking for 100 or what?
Yeah.
Wendy, I think we should,
100.
no, maybe we should say, I thought everyone was doing 150. Should we say
Oh.
no greater than 200? Should we say it that way?
How many towns is it? Because it doesn't seem like enough. 100 doesn't seem like enough.
I think it would be
150,
really
yeah.
helpful to have like a budget, like a total budget, or to know what all the towns were being asked
Why-
for. I have no problem with, like, I
Okay,
think the
well-
amount seems fair.
Well, all the
But it
towns
also
would do the same
seems low.
amount. all the towns are going to do the same amount.
How
But
many?
Wendy, I thought it was left off as each town would contribute 150. Is that what I thought?
I
thought that
I
was-
don't think there was any firm thing. We have till the end of June. Let's promise to have an answer by next meeting. How's that?
That's a good idea.
Can't we just
Okay.
do it? Can't we just do it as a blanket, an open-ended donation type thing?
Yeah,
Instead of
no,
paying for
No.
webpage?
that wouldn't be right. That wouldn't be right for a Kent Conservation Commission to say that. I mean, I think we have to have
Yeah,
some.
let's have the real expense. I think Mike
Yeah,
Benjamin,
let's wait till next month.
will have an answer.
All right, so then so I withdraw my proposal and we'll put it on the agenda for next month then.
Okay.
Okay.
That works.
Okay.
That works.
Good.
All right, good. Do we want to move on to the next item?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, which is our recycling initiatives and specifically interacting with the transfer station. And I haven't been, Adam has been to the transfer station each week. You know, what I've heard is that recycling is complicated and public safety takes an upper, takes an upper hand over recycling right now. So for example, there's no collection of redeemable cans and bottles at the transfer station. 1 week the machine wasn't working and so the single stream just went into the trash. I think that it may be a difficult time to move any new initiatives forward. I think it's certainly going to be a fight just to get the level of recycling done that we've managed to get done in the past.
Yeah.
The redeemables weren't being collected, but the bottles and cans were still being recycled. They just weren't going to the scholarship fund.
2
So
weeks
that-
ago,
But
they
the
were
point is
garbage.
that this is not the time
No.
anyway to deal with the signage and everything we wanted to do. This is not, right now we're just dealing with the safety of the area and everything. But every time that I've been there, the only thing that's clearly not happening is the wrap. The wrap is going into the trash. But the recycle bin the single stream is working and it's up and they've been doing it each week.
Yeah.
And that other week, the recycling, they had a different dumpster.
They had to move the dump. They had a dumpster in a different place, but it
Yeah,
was there.
it was there.
So the recycling is going on. The wrap is not. But again, we all know that the wrap wasn't anyway, unfortunately. But it's just that right now, this isn't something we should be dealing with. I mean, this is what's happening. This is everything with safety and health comes first right now.
And it's
But the
just
state,
Shame
Oh.
we had Jean at our last meeting and she was really into helping us with this and to make some progress there. And that's now going to fall away again in several months. She won't think of it anymore and we'll have to start all over again.
Well,
I don't think-
let's try to be optimistic about being able to do that.
But
Yeah.
I do think when we start up again, the whole rules on recycling may have changed. I mean,
yes.
They may have different dumpsters for different stuff. There's so much in flux right now that I think it would be a waste of time to talk about it.
Right.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think if anything, our message should again be like the reduction,
And just common sense. Don't leave your gloves and stuff in the parking lot, leave no trace. Common sense.
Yeah.
Who are these people that are tossing stuff in the parking lot?
They don't want to bring it home.
I wonder if the IGA would do well to have a can right outside the,
I believe they actually added, Ace Hardware's added boxes. People have added things to accommodate, but people they're leaving them in the carts. They're slobby.
It's so sad. It's so pathetic. It's so
It is, and
pathetic.
that's why I think that once we see a light of day on this, when the recycling bins and the garbage bins go back on town on Main Street, we are going to have to do, even if it's just us as the commission goes up and down Main Street, does the IGA parking lot, there is going to be some cleanup that has to really take place.
Yeah. Cleanup and re-education.
Yeah.
When there's a clear path forward, when any new procedures, as Wendy was mentioning, stabilize, we're going to need to really ramp it up in terms of how we ask people to, to abide with recycling laws that are on the books, and what we want to ask them to do with respect to the reduce, reuse, and recycle.
It's possible the state's going to raise the redemption amounts on the bottles.
Well,
Did I-
That's under 7.
They're not
No.
even taking bottles now.
No, but I mean,
There's no legislative session.
yeah,
We
but
can't
that's
even
one
think
of the-
about this until next
But
year.
that is something they're going to address when we're back to semi-normal. So,
Right.
okay.
But there's no legislative progress on any of this until later. Although keeping our great relationship with Maria Horn, who's been a real advocate at the state for environmental issues, including recycling, is going to be important. I don't anticipate it being difficult, but I think we can keep that in mind.
Yes.
Did anybody see the PBS documentary about the plastic recycling and how the plastic recycling industry doesn't recycle most of the plastic, and it's actually most of it is going in the trash?
Yeah, it was a
It's-
terrible and depressing thing to watch.
Yeah. So
when
it's
was that? Where was that?
on PBS,
Month ago,
Pub-
maybe?
public television.
Mhm.
And they put these recycling symbols on the bottom of the different types of plastic, but that was just to because people at the time were complaining about too much plastic, and they were demonstrating it against it. And the plastics industry decided we have to do something about it, so they came up with these recycling symbols, making it look like it's recyclable, and that stopped the protests. But in fact, 90% of it does not get recycled, and they know that. So it's sad.
Fairly grim.
And then how are we going to raise our recycling rate like the state wants if the plastic really shouldn't count for most of it?
Well, there's even been, I saw something yesterday, and I haven't read it yet, but it's on the real, I think it was called something like The Real Story Behind Landfill. And it was, the idea apparently was that landfill wasn't such a bad thing after all.
Well, let's go on. We'll have to see how things happen.
Yeah. I think so. Okay, next on the agenda is sustainable CT. And I looked back at the minutes, and, Jean was going to, she was very energized back in February to, put together a committee and to work on this. Obviously, she has not had the time to do that. And it's, again, not the time to be thinking about it unless we're going to lead the effort. And even then, it might be hard to really get people's ears or to make substantial plans for things that we might do in order to make progress on sustainable CT.
One thing that we mentioned with Jean last time, and she seemed interested in it, was that the Conservation Commission could really press the fire department to go solar. I mean, we should be encouraging all our town buildings to take advantage of these state programs. And maybe they just needed help. Maybe they need somebody to go do the research for them. I'd love to see it.
We'd all love to see it. That ridiculous huge roof facing south with nothing on it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I think, they just don't have people meddling in their business enough. It's one way to think of it.
We also have the school, Kent Center School, coming up on the 5-year capital plan roof project. So, I mean, there's a lot of opportunity. I don't know
Yeah.
much about solar myself, but you certainly do, Wendy.
Yeah, so are you going to
Ruth?
bring that up at one of the board meetings?
Well, yeah, if I'm still on the board, when it comes up, for sure, we're going to talk about it. But,
No,
the last time we talked about it as a board, I believe the weight of the solar was too much for the Kent Center School roof to actually
Really? Wow.
handle.
I question that because
Question
there are
that
so
too.
many different ways to do this now. I'll bet you they came to that conclusion on the basis of solar technology that's 5 years old or something.
Well, that's when they did talk about it. I mean, we
Yeah.
don't have the money
It's
yet,
all-
so it's not in the
Changing, and the prices are coming down, way down. And, it's an amazing thing. I have I every day I can look at my, what my array has done, and it's thrilling. It really is. Not to mention it's very nice on your income tax. So I'd love to promote it with the fire department. Maybe we could invite some people who are in charge of building plans for the fire department and get them to come to a meeting or offer.
There must be an organizer or someone who works with nonprofits and towns to do solar that we need to bring in first
Yeah.
to talk to, because filing that grant is probably not so straightforward like a homeowner.
Yeah. Well, I went to a meeting up at Yukon in Torrington, and it was a whole collection of people, farmers, who came together to hear presentations, and they had solar installers, they had somebody from Eversource. They had a lot of people, and a whole lot of brochures and information, and they set up tables and would give you, and make a contact. I would love to push ahead on that now that I'm convinced that it's working.
Yeah, I think finding someone who is comfortable and has done the paperwork for a nonprofit or a town is going to be the key to that. To really sell it to any of us is.
I think what I could
to do it. It's just how you do it on the paperwork side of it.
Yeah, I might even see if I could find somebody in the state that's already a fire department that's done this. But I can talk to people at Eversource because I got their cards when I was there. I'll do
And check also with the Northwest Council of Governments. They will know what the towns in our area have done, and they had a meeting about it also about
Oh,
solar.
really?
And there were some people who were invited there who are knowledgeable about it.
Okay, I will do that. That excites me.
Yeah.
Wendy, that's great.
Good, thank you. Okay, let's move on to the cell tower proposal. And so if any of you had the opportunity to read Lynn's article in the Republican American, you know that the Siting Council is moving forward with its consideration of the application for cell towers at either of two proposed sites, one at Bald Hill Road and the other on Richards Road. Lynn's reporting was that there are two intervener groups, and they're both residents groups. So one of them is a group of people from Bald Hill Road, and the other is a group from Richards Road. And that the town had not, as of the writing of the article, which I believe was maybe Monday. I don't know, Melissa, do you remember?
Yeah, I think it was Monday. You keep going. I have questions.
That the town had not intervened, but I'm wondering if Melissa can give us a little fill-in from the select board's meeting last night.
So actually, Lynn, can you unmute yourself? Because I'm not clear what the difference between the two terminologies are. There's intervener, and then there's something else that actually I thought Jean said last night that the town did apply for. Did I misunderstand that last night?
That's what I heard her say too, but I didn't see any documentation that indicated that the town had applied.
Okay, so I didn't misunderstand. Chris asked the question in the selectmen's meeting last night, and she kind of defended herself and said, but it wasn't intervener. She said, what's
Party?
the other term?
Party,
Party
like
status.
party status.
She said the town applied for party status. So I'm not really clear if that's something separate or if that's the same or.
An intervener is a party. I think it's the same
So it's
thing.
the same thing, and so like I'm confused now. I'm totally confused.
It is not the most it's really hard to follow the stuff on that website. So I actually got in a little bit of trouble with Tony DiPentima because he corrected me on some things because I misunderstood what I was reading. Like for instance, there was a little thing in there about Michelle Bachman, who is the executive director of the Siting Council. She acknowledged that she might have a perceived conflict of interest. And in the documentation, it sounded like she worked for the Judge DiPentima, but actually she worked for the court system. And so he was correcting me on that. And he was also correcting me on the fact that he's not actually part of the Bald Hill group. He's a attorney representing the Bald Hill.
Okay.
So,
Well, he is part of the Bald Hill troop. I mean, he lives right next door to this.
well, he's not officially part of the residence group because he's their attorney, one of
He
their
doesn't
attorneys.
represent himself.
Yeah.
Okay, but he was the one who turned up at our meeting, months ago. I'm
Right.
very
Well,
angry.
You don't
He obviously
understand
has an interest, but probably
Okay.
procedurally, it's probably not large enough to be considered a class. And
Okay.
so he can, in order to act as the attorney for that group, he can't be one of that group.
So Lynn, you still don't understand then. You are as confused as I was. I mean, we didn't discuss this, so
I
I
haven't
don't
talked to
understand what
Jean.
Dean was saying last night when,
I haven't talked to Jean, but there's nothing, as of when I wrote my article, there was nothing that indicated the town had party status. So
So where's the Conservation Commission?
Okay,
in
yeah,
all
so
this?
my
Other
question
than our
here,
understanding, we want to follow everything.
right.
Where's our role? What's happening?
My question here is that we did make a statement at the outset, read into the records, so it's part of the town records before the application was even filed, and that statement concentrated on the fact that Kent has gone to great lengths to preserve its view shed and its natural beauty, and that we basically implored the town to think really hard about whether or not it should just lie down and let this roll over them, and suggested really that the town could do a much better job in conducting its own study to figure out where it needs to have facilities to to safeguard emergency communications. So we did not take a stand about the comparable siting of those two locations to any other place in the town. We did not say, we don't need emergency communications, but we did say, don't just roll over, really make sure you do a good job on this. So on hearing that the town has not, to our knowledge, gotten to the point where it was an intervener, where it was taking an active role, I wondered whether we might take another action to again implore the town to do that.
but she said in the meeting, the selectmen's meeting last night, that the town is. So I don't, short of us researching it like Lynn did before.
Well, why not send that message and say, please clarify, we don't understand what the town's role is. We hope that it is an active intervener. Please clarify.
And as an intervener, I mean, what that really means is that the town is asking for permission to insert itself and have some opinion. The town is not like the intervener residence groups, we would guess oppose both locations, or one or the other. The town as an intervener isn't necessarily going to oppose either location. So I think it would be fair to ask the town what it does intend to do.
But as of now, the town is not an intervener.
We
As
don't
of
know.
last night. That's what we don't know. That's what we're trying to figure out.
Right.
Okay, Lynn sent the link through chat so that we could look and see if the town is registered. You see that,
Well,
Connie?
One
Yeah.
of the strong comments at that meeting was that the people given the task of locating a site had done a very sloppy job. They hadn't really tried very hard to find places. You know, people didn't answer their letters, so they just gave up on them. Apparently they didn't really take a lot of trouble to find the optimum location with the least effect on our scenic beauty.
Is there a location like that? I think
Well, I don't know, but I mean, at
any
least
location is going to be fought.
somebody needs to question
have a-
first how
Do
many
we have an
places.
opportunity to go back and revisit the selections? Is that possible?
I think what's going to happen, just so you guys are aware, is the applicant has applied to the siting council and said, here's our 2 sites. You pick which site.
Yeah.
And that's the application that's before the siting council. So they're not gonna look at other sites. They're gonna pick between these 2 sites. And the time frame is that they got to do it before, I think it's July 25th. And there has been like a 90-day extension because of the governor's executive orders. So it could go as late as October if they take advantage of that extension.
The siting council takes advantage of this.
Siting council.
I don't know how you made sense of that website that you sent to us. Like, that's a lot of, I mean, that's,
Oh, good. I'm glad.
Connie's legalese
understand.
helps it out a little more than
Yeah.
my layman.
But if you scroll down on it, because I just
Yep.
briefly went to that link, you can see that they identify who the parties and interveners are. And
And
the
I
town
don't
of Kent
see-
is not listed.
I don't see the count. Okay, so that's what I was,
Can you send that link again? I didn't write it down.
right
Where's
It's
the
in the
link go?
chat box.
Oh,
In the
okay.
Down at
chat
the
box.
bottom,
Uh-huh.
there's a little thing that says chat.
Bottom, this is all new. I love this.
No,
Okay.
you just hover over it and it pops up.
Chat box.
I have to click on mine, so I don't know.
Yeah, not on my iPad. I don't
I
have
have to
that.
click on the chat and
Oh.
then it pops up.
No, what did
And
I
you
just?
move it.
So
wherever you-
Yos, maybe you could put that link in our minutes?
Okay.
Okay.
That would be a very good idea.
So that being said, then I think that a letter from the commission to the first selectman and the selectmen saying, we heard you in the selectmen's meeting say you were party status, but we don't see it. What is your intention?
Also that was a promise held out to the town during that first town meeting, that they would do that. And then in
Is there a-
subsequent select board meetings as
She
well.
said it last night, so I mean, I don't know.
Is there a deadline to sign up as intervener? mean,
I don't
maybe
know the
she's-
answer to that.
Do you know that, Lynn?
There probably is. I don't really understand the timing of everything, but they do seem to have very specific timelines for
So
things.
maybe she's working on it, just hasn't gotten around to it yet.
That could
I
be
thi-
possible,
I
but she
think
was
it's-
asked straight out.
It's actually, you have to apply to the siting council and the siting council has to make a decision whether or not you are a party. Now, maybe because it's the town of Kent, it's different, but it's looking at as you guys see, looking at all the documents, it doesn't look like they are.
But if there's an
Hmm.
extension carrying the July date to October, then there must be an extension on the application as well.
Yes, they actually asked for the applicant they asked for an extension so they could have more time because of all this stuff, and the applicant allowed them until May something. So they've already started some extensions.
Is it appropriate to write something to Jean asking her these questions or not?
That was Melissa's suggestion, that the Conservation Commission write a letter to Jean and the Select Board asking about whether or not they have applied for, have achieved party or intervener status, what their plan is, and what their strategy is, or, what their plan is for being that intervener. Once
well,
you
that's
intervene, you have to have a position.
Yeah, and that could go either way. It's not necessarily that the town will agree with our position as a conservation commission, and or the group's positions either. She hasn't
That's true.
actually expressed.
But I
what
think
her-
that the public should know, because, you know, the very first town meeting, there was strong opposition voiced to this plan over and over again. It was overwhelming. At that time, there was a promise made that the town would seek intervenor status. That, you know, again, was a promise made in subsequent select board meetings. And you know, even if the town comes back to the letter and responds that they are in support of the application, I think that that's something that needs to be known.
Absolutely. But like I said, she said on the record in the selectmen's meeting last night that the town was, so. To her select board.
She has to publish it in the selectmen's letter that she actually did that.
They asked her that was asked of her last night,
Okay.
that they do a actual weekly, right, Lynn? A weekly update on the cell tower? Is that what they said?
Look, you know, the websites are out of date all the time. So, you know,
Sure.
who
Yeah.
knows? But I think it's a fair question, and I'm hearing support for writing a letter. Would you like me to circulate it before it's sent?
No, I think you understand our
You can
point.
go
but-
ahead.
Go
but
ahead.
let's- A final sentence, it says the Conservation Commission strongly supports, you know, not just asking her a question, but saying we care.
So
think
I mean, I think it's going to be a very brief letter, though. It's not going to
Yeah,
be the letter
Yeah.
that it was the first time, you know,
Can
restating.
it reference that letter though? Could it reference the other letter? Since
absolutely.
it didn't get read into the minutes of the last meeting, it was added to the minutes. So I think referencing the other letter or even including it in as an
As an
addendum,
attachment. Yeah.
would be
Good
helpful
idea.
to
Yeah.
bring it right back to their attention. But it's important that it goes to all the select people, not just Jean.
Yeah.
Yes.
Do we need to vote on Connie sending this letter?
Sure.
Okay.
I
so-
propose that Connie writes this letter and sends it off as soon as possible.
Second,
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, I will do it.
I have a quick question, just a very quick question. So in the chat, which I now found, so I could copy that, but if I want to paste that into a Word document, can I bring up a Word document the same time as I am on Zoom?
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
The Zoom goes.
So
in
I
the-
won't lose everybody if I go and get a Word document up to paste that into.
No, it
Just
goes in the
don't
background.
click the X. Don't close our window. You can go up to the top of your screen and use the, I think so. That's how I
All
usually
right, I
do
think
it.
I
But
can.
you can basically minimize or make the window of us smaller so that you can access your other applications.
Don't hit anything red or anything in X. Just do what you do but in the background.
But you also could wait until you get the minutes from Yoast.
No, but I want to read it before that. Okay.
Ah, okay.
Woo!
Okay.
Okay. good.
Great. Update Kent Trails, a hiker's guide.
No, nothing really to update. We still have some. House of Books is closed, so nobody is buying them. It's a
Did it?
shame because
I
I'm
suspect
sorry.
our link is definitely being used a lot more right now. I mean, I'm posting it all the time. People are asking for the link.
good.
People are using it online, and it's the trails are being heavily used.
They certainly are.
I agree. I think
But
that
is the
existence-
final version on, like the latest version had some additions? Is that on the website now?
That's a good question, Connie. I don't know.
I'm not sure
Does
I know which version, which changes.
Does Darlene, who puts it up on the website? Who does
Darlene.
it?
Darlene does.
Then
I
it's not
think
the
so.
latest.
I mean, I don't think that it was, you know, like some of the changes included the hikes 11 and 12 in Cabo Vista Preserve and Kent
Right.
Mountain.
Right.
And I think that was long enough ago that I believe those maps. got
Oh,
up.
okay. Great.
But the most recent version of the trail maps is not up there because I've been talking to Darlene about it and she said, yeah, let's put them up there.
So who
That's
needs?
what I was asking. Okay. All
So
right.
I will get,
It'll
in
happen.
touch,
It'll happen.
I'll get in touch with Darlene and find out what she needs.
Yeah.
When the Kent Land Trust, or Connie can speak to this, when the Kent Land Trust does their adventure this summer, I think we're going to plug the book again because it will help people who are
Good.
participating.
Yeah.
So we should be prepared for that if and when this adventure ever gets launched.
Oh, it'll get launched.
It
Yeah.
I'm
will.
confident it'll get launched.
It's going to be really fun this year. There's
Whether
like
we
a
do that-
magical, enchanted element to it that is, you know, it's kind of nice to have a little bit of fantasy and an idea that there are these guardians, you know, really presiding over us here in Kent. So I know that all of our guests from out of town really do feel like this is an enchanted realm. So just one observation on public trails and their use. You know, I think it's really terrific that our trails are being used more. I think that the nature of the parking lots on most of our trails is going to keep use from getting, you know, too crowded. I think that there's a slight risk that people who are less considerate might overflow parking lots and start parking on people's lawns. So at least at the Kent Land Trust, we're doing regular checks of all of our trails just to look out for issues. But I think overcrowding is probably not one that we're experiencing right now. I do see, as you know, the weather continues to improve, and as we see continued closures at the federal and the state level, that there might be some issues. And I don't really have very developed thoughts on how to resolve them, but I'm very troubled by emerging social justice issues that might result from the closure of Connecticut's public beaches, things like Lake Warramog Beach, its campground. You know, already we've had issues with Macedonia Brook Campground. I feel that in many ways, some people are going to get marginalized when it comes to public access to nature. And I would like to be part of the solution and not part of that injustice. So that's what I've been perseverating on today. I'm fully expecting to hear about the state of Connecticut's continued closure of parks and beaches and campgrounds as the weather improves.
So Jean said in the selectmen's meeting last night that she received a letter yesterday, correct me if I'm wrong, Lynn, but from the Appalachian Trail saying they are closing it soon. It sounds like
really?
almost like this weekend type of thing.
The
Hey,
trail's
Lord,
been
the
closed
Appalachian
for
Trail?
like 3 weeks.
Right.
The
So-
Appalachian Trail has been closed for a while.
I thought
it had
the
been,
Bulls Bridge parking lot was closed, no?
No, I thought the Appalachian Trail was, they had petitioned to get it closed, but it had not happened yet. I'm
People
pretty
have
sure
been
that-
advised to stay off the Appalachian
Correct.
Trail for like 3 weeks.
They
Correct, and
should
the
have closed
official
everything.
word of the
open to
Appalachian
pedestrians.
Trail being closed is what's coming up, is what she mentioned in the selectmen's meeting last night.
Wow. Why is that necessary?
In some areas of the country, there's overcrowding. I mean, if
Well-
you look at Bulls Bridge,
That
obviously there's
makes
issues
sense.
at Bulls Bridge, but there's not the same issues on some of the more remote stretches. And so, but
Anybody who was hiking
People
the
can
whole-
avoid each other.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something else if you get a whole group going together, then somebody can say something, but people should still be allowed to go to these
Yeah,
places.
most people who use the trail are walk one or two at a time.
Yeah,
Well, I mean, you can't solve it, but you're right. It's a social issue.
Yeah.
Too bad.
and Kent Falls State Park is also closed, and it's closed for everybody, but it's just because one time it was too busy and some people were hanging around together. They spoil it for everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't think it's an easy fix. I mean, I don't even, you know, I think that the closures were probably wise.
Yeah.
And the same with beaches and campgrounds, if things go on the way that they have. I don't know what it means for what our response is as a community that has public trails.
Well, I hope Kent Land Trust doesn't close its trails. So
Hmm.
let's keep it that way.
We will
Well,
do whatever we
our
can.
families and the children need to be outside hiking. They need
Yeah.
to be walking. They all need to be outside.
They do. And we're so lucky here. I mean, my poor mother in Portland has a small atrium to walk around in, you know, and we have all of this open space. So,
We're incredibly fortunate. We really are.
yeah.
Let's go on to new business.
Yes.
New business. So is there anything to talk about with respect to these bills?
I don't
Well,
think so.
nothing is happening now, correct? Like nothing is being acted upon right now.
Correct.
The way I
It's
understand
a
it.
short session, so nothing is
Right.
gonna
But
get-
I'm going to assume then that these bills will be reintroduced in the next session? And would they have the same numbers? I mean, is there a history of where they got to so far before the virus, before mid-February? Wherever
If
they
you
got
go
to so far, do
to-
they pick up where they left off?
They
The
don't.
next
They all have to
session?
be reintroduced.
They do.
Sometimes they get reintroduced just verbatim. If you go to the Connecticut, I think it's called Connecticut Bill Finder or something like that, you can click into the history and you can see, you know, where bills came up, who raised them, who sponsored them, and where they died,
Right.
you know, year
Right.
after year.
Uh-huh.
So, you know, that might be a fun project to do, you know, over the next months as we get ready to encourage, you know, our legislative reps to support them again.
I guess I just put them down just so that we don't forget.
Yeah.
That this is these are ones that we want to follow. There might be others, I wasn't sure, but these are ones we certainly want to keep following. And we just want to keep it alive for us so that when there is a time that it's appropriate to act again, we can.
Good. I think we can continue it on the agenda just as a list of,
And we may
Bills
find
to
some others
keep
and add
following.
them to the list, but I think this is good.
Yeah.
Well, the other
And
question
by
I
the
have
way,
is,
at that last meeting, Jean had said that it would be good if we as a commission would give our opinion on these bills and actually help push them.
yeah,
Good.
it is our responsibility. It really is.
Because we haven't
But I
done
have
that.
another, just a quick question on the agenda then. Everything that we've talked about would stay on the agenda, except that I'm adding now a separate thing on solar. Should I add that as a separate topic?
Yes, I think so, yes.
Okay,
yes.
so everything else where, you know, we'll just keep doing updates.
And you could subtract the April benefits.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I got that part. I got that. Got that. Okay. Okay.
All right. I have no idea if there's correspondence. There might be.
Probably not, but we can deal with it next month. How's that?
You know, ordinarily when I quote, call the meeting, when I do the posting of the meeting, Darlene always gets back right away and says, thank you. And she says, got it. So, cause she always then takes the minutes and does whatever she does with them and she records the agenda. This time I didn't hear back. So can I just assume that that's okay? I was surprised when Melissa said this had to be recorded. But so can I just assume that she got what she needed? I mean, I guess I'll just email her, but I mean, everybody's just so overworked, you know?
He actually is just figuring it out as it goes. It's all new, but in
Yeah.
order to actually meet online this way, they have to submit a recording to the public.
Okay.
And so I knew that from Board of Ed and all that going forward. I mean,
I knew through Connie that I technically had to write at the top of the agenda the URL and the meeting and the password and everything. That had to be in there because Darlene had to record that with our agenda.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm just going to assume that she did what she
she did.
supposed to
It
do.
was on the website. It went out. Everything. I got the
Fine.
email that it went out, so it's good. She's just very busy.
Of course.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I mean, and it's amazing, in spite of everything that's going on, there still was a selectmen's meeting last night, and there were topics other than the virus, and it's just like, everybody's so busy, right? You have to keep
There's
going
been-
on.
There's been numerous Board of Finance meetings. I mean, it's been busy.
Yeah,
We have a budget. We still have to
I know.
file a budget and get it,
Mhm.
I think all things considered, we are all doing phenomenally well with this Zoom thing. It's,
It's
What a
nice to see everybody. I like seeing,
know.
hi, everyone. I'm really happy to see
I
everybody.
would,
You want to say
Next-
hi to everybody.
next winter for our winter meetings, I would love to do it this way.
Oh, Wendy.
Lynn and I might have been saying that before. We really like this. You can pop into any meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, we have a question though. Was Adam in bed at his planning and zoning meeting?
No.
Okay, just checking.
Well, okay, wait, let me just clarify, because the quiet spaces in our house at this time of night are the bedroom.
Okay, no, it wasn't that
He was
bedroom.
in the bedroom, but he was not in bed.
Oh, okay. No, it wasn't that bedroom though. I don't even think he was in there. It didn't look like
He
that.
was.
Oh.
He was. This is, I mean, there aren't that many of them. I don't have that many in my house. It's we could construct one of those crazy automatic backgrounds, but I think it's a little bit more fun to give people.
Marvawood was told, the students were told they could not do digital backgrounds. Aiden actually got talked to about his really normal beach themed background that he had to turn off.
Yeah.
I took
I'm
away,
so happy that Lynn joined us tonight. Thank you, Lynn. I'm glad you're here. That's great.
It is great.
Very definitely. We just have to get Donna to have a camera.
Yeah, we need to see Donna.
Well, if you didn't have a camera before COVID-19, you're not getting one for a long time.
I
Yeah,
ordered
really
my
impossible.
go and there's nothing out there to buy.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah?
Well-
What are you buying, Donna?
This woman that I work for, I'll tell you what, she's buying stuff every day.
Ugh.
We tried to buy a camera, and the earliest delivery date was May 28th or something. So we
Oh, wow.
It's
Well, you
just
can
the
Zoom on
cameras.
your phone if you really are hungry for people to see. You can Zoom using a phone or.
iPad.
That's
Bad.
okay.
Yep.
I'm not hungry for that, no.
No.
I
No,
am
but it is good to
kind
see
of
you all.
hungry for dinner.
Yes,
so
me
So am
too.
I.
Yeah, I need to go eat. So we're all set.
We're good.
I think we are ready to adjourn. I want
Motion to adjourn.
for participating in our meeting. I think it went well. I'm sorry that there's so little activity right now, but I hope that all of you stay safe and healthy.
Stay out of harm's way, everybody.
Yes, stay healthy. Stay
But
healthy.
go outside.
Go outside, yes. Have a good walk.
Are you talking to your parents?
All right. Take
Very
care.
good.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Let's, Sarah, is your dog?